Awesome. Right, so hi everyone. Yeah, as you said, I'm just going to give a brief background to the schools, which hopefully will answer some of the questions about what we do and why we persist in having a presence within the RDA. As was said from the round of introductions, I'm Louise. I'm one of the co-chairs together with Hugh, but we have a whole number of other co-chairs that aren't able to be with us today for a number of different reasons, but just to recognize their contributions to the school. Basically, the schools were founded in 2016 by Hugh, actually, and some other colleagues, in response to a recognized need for a lack of data science training, particularly amongst early career researchers in low middle income countries. So the goal of the schools very broadly is to create communities of researchers that have foundational data science skills to enable efficient and effective research for the 21st century. So how it was developed, sorry, how am I going to say this? So the school design really evolved out of this core aim. And it was initially designed as a 2-week intensive school where students physically came together to be tutored and to interact with instructors and their peers. And this was initially selected because we thought it was a very important contribution towards building communities of early career researchers who engage in data science practices by allowing them time, not only through the school, but also in the social time after the school, to create bonds and to create links. Obviously, in response to COVID, we have now transitioned to an online format that I'll talk a bit more about later, but we're hoping that at least in the future, we will be able to run some physical schools as well as these online schools. And the schools are definitely designed to be broad but shallow in response to data science. So this means it gives a broad overview and introduction to key data science skills and also to responsible research practices like open science, research data management, open authorship, and so forth. And what we're trying to do through these schools is not only to upskill early career researchers, but really to create a community that transcends national or institutional boundaries, and that particularly is a community that's very important and effective for early career researchers in low middle income countries, because for many of our alumni, they are one of the first in their institution to be undertaking data science research, or they come from institutions that don't have a lot of support for data science practices. And therefore, it's really important that they have these peers around the world that they can tap into for sharing expertise, sharing concerns, sharing ideas, and so forth. So this is a broad overview of our curriculum. As you'll see from our curriculum, we perhaps differ from a lot of other data science summer schools in that we position ethics and responsible research practices at the center of our curriculum. It is a topic that we give direct and targeted instruction in, but also that we revisit at regular intervals while the students go through these other modules. So our schools start with lectures on open and responsible research. We then go on to software carpentry, data visualization. The students then step back from the programming aspects, learn research data management and author carpentry, and then they go on to do more high-level topics such as informational security, machine learning, and computational infrastructures. So as I said, we have been running since 2016. Our first school was hosted by the International Center for Theoretical Physics in Trieste. And since then, we've run 11 different schools on 5 different continents, and we've taught over 450 students from multiple disciplines. We've had everyone coming from computer science and physics to life sciences to social sciences and humanities. And we're very proud that our curriculum is disciplinarily agnostic enough to encourage multidisciplinary cohorts of students. And we feel that this really strengthens the networks that our students are able to build, because they're able to think about how data science is a common tool that can be used to facilitate interdisciplinary research. Hugh did a calculation of our teaching outputs and has estimated that we provide provided around $500,000 of free teaching to students from low and middle income countries. And this is particularly important when we recognize that the schools are run on an entirely volunteer basis. We don't have any resources to pay instructors or student helpers, and this is all done entirely because the community, both within the RDA and CODATA and beyond, are willing to give up time and expertise because they recognize this is a really important topic. So in 2020, we started an alumni map, and this is definitely by no means complete, but we started mapping where our students have been coming from. And as you'll see, we've had a really nice range of representation from all the different continents. And undoubtedly with our online schools that are running at the moment, this map is going to be very green by the end of this year. So we're quite proud not only of our schools and of our alumni, but also because of another number of notable achievements and activities that we've undertaken as a co-chair network and as a school network. What we have had is that the curriculum is now an official output of the Research Data Alliance. We're very proud about that the RDA recognized the importance of the curriculum and the teachability of the curriculum, and now has put their stamp on it to say that this has been endorsed by the entire RDA community. The schools were also a case study for the OECD report on digital skills. And since 2019, we've been partnering with a big European Union project called FAIR's Fair to develop data steward instructor training, which has become a key output of FAIR's Fair and has been adapted from our original school curriculum that I showed a few slides ago. And something that's more close to our hearts as co-chairs is that we've seen a number of our alumni continually revisit and get involved in the schools, first as students, then as helpers, then as instructors. And we now have 4 alumni who are now co-chairs of the Data Science Summer School. So we're seeing direct evidence that we're not only building data science expertise around the globe, but we're also building a community that really recognizes and supports the CODATA RDA Data Science Summer School network. So as I said, in 2020, we, like everyone else, had to adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we had initially hoped that we would be able to host the school in Trieste in August 2020, but then it became rapidly apparent that this wasn't going to happen. So what we did in 2020 was we engaged with our alumni community from the last 5 years and ran a Train the Trainer event, because many of our alumni are interested either in becoming helpers and trainers in the data science summer schools or training in their own institutions on one or more of the modules. So in 2020, we ran a Train the Trainer event specifically for our alumni on the topics in our curriculum. Obviously, with the, so that was one of the main outputs of 2020. As I mentioned, we had been partnering with FAIR's Fair, so we started online data steward instructor training, which was adapted from the 2019 Trieste pilot. And we ran that in Manchester and San Jose in Costa Rica. And we launched the alumni network, which I'll talk about a bit more, just to start capitalizing on the momentum of the Train the Trainer event and to engage our alumni more closely. And this year, obviously, we were not able to still host our beloved in-person events. So we hosted our first virtual school, which we co-hosted with the University of Pretoria in South Africa from May to July. And then we are currently hosting a school with the ICTP in Trieste from September to November. We also continued doing our online data steward instructor training, and we hosted events in Botswana, in Ghent in Belgium, in Ireland, and Gdansk in Poland. And we have 2 open events coming up in early December that are open more broadly. So as I mentioned, this has been the sustained work of a number of incredibly dedicated individuals. And I'd like to recognize Rafael, Marcella, Sarah, Bianca, Rob, and Venkat, who aren't able to join us on this call at the moment. And then I thought maybe we could stop here for a moment and see if there's any discussion before we do any working group updates.
Yeah. that's fine. And I think I'd probably also say that, you know, we don't though you have a sort of other slides covering other things, Pascal, Jagadish, we don't have to do that if you'd say rather not. So yeah, I hope, so just to say, I kind of, that's a snapshot of what's being covered. I hope Louise didn't mind. I was kind of adding in a few more extra links in there of material. What I'll also do is for the data steward instructor training, I'll put into the chat a link to a typical program for that, because it runs in quite a different way from the schools now, basically because of doing things sort of on having to move to doing things online. So yeah, that's kind of what the schools are about.
And just to highlight that all the materials in the schools are available for reuse, so they are open, and you can access them through our website, which Hugh's put in the chat. And we're very happy for any of the materials to be reused if they are useful.
Yeah. So yeah, Jagadish and Pascal, any immediate thoughts there about what that does? Does that sort of chime with any of the work that you're doing? Oh, Jagadish, I think your audio is off.
No, I was thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I know the CODATA school, and it is very interesting initiative. We are not very big. We are a small institute, so we are doing scale actions with scalability. We are working with scalability, and we are working a lot with we have some research units. They are in cooperation with other countries. In the same unit, research unit, you have French researchers and also African researchers, for example. Yeah. So that's our target now, to train and to spread research data management, to train them to be better in research data management. And there's a lot of job to do, because sometimes it's just basic advice or how to have authorization to collect your data, how to describe your data, where to put your data. We have a repository, but we not mandate all researchers to put the data in our repository, because sometimes it's better they put their data in thematics or worldwide vision repositories. And yes, we're going very step by step. So it's not, it's just beginning. What can I say? Yes, and we are working on online, but it's not really suitable for some training session, especially with people from different culture. So for the first time next week, we had the opportunities to go to Senegal and to train in a 3 days training period on research data management in presential. It was very good. Okay. We have very good feedback. So
yeah. So you physically went to Senegal, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we had that problem as well. So we ran a data steward training in Botswana, and obviously the bandwidth can be quite unreliable. But what we did was we pre-recorded all our lectures and then just had a discussion, which wasn't ideal, but it was definitely better than nothing. But we do sympathize with the challenges of online training. It's not easy, particularly when the internet connections are not stable.
Yes. And so also we tried to involve a lot of people from Senegal in our training. So it was very good because we found very skilled people, and they accept to do some presentations inside the training period, the training schedule. It was very interesting also.
Yeah.
Not to be only the people they came with knowledge to explain how it works, it should works, but have some people from the countries. It was really interesting also.
So just also to say, with the data steward instructor training, so that those materials are going to be put up onto a virtual learning environment, and we also, with the videos that are there, we are going to get them translated into a number of different languages, including French. So that might be of interest to you. But there's also, I mean, just thinking, Jagadish, sorry, we're not ignoring, we'll get back to you in a minute. But do you think, in your experience, you know, again, in sort of in French-speaking countries like with Senegal, would there be interest beyond kind of the research data management material, the other things that we've been covering? You know, I think one of the things that would be nice would be to run a school, if a school could be run in French, for example. That's still a big step for us, but it would be something that maybe we could think about. So if we had the right core of people to do that kind of, to do the teaching through French, then that might be, that, you know, that's something that's worth thinking about here. So Jagadish, I'm sorry, we kind of went away from you, so I think you had some thoughts as well.
Yeah, in the situation of the Nepal, research data management has not been so much managed. It is in very grassroots level. Some of the private institutions had archived their research data, but the government level and government policy, there is no any policy to archive the research data. So it is very hard to find the research data publicly. Anyone who interested in the research data, who need the information, have to work very hard to find the research data which has been conducted inside the Nepal. There are a lot of research happening every year, but the researcher, neither the researcher nor the research institutions archive their research data for the public use. So any new researcher who want these research data have to work very hard. They have to request the research organization, they have to request the researchers about their research, and it is very difficult to find that. There is no any mechanism to archive and manage the research data in Nepal. Some of the private institutions just started to archive their research data, but in the country level, there are not any properly managed archive, not managed repository. Even university doesn't have any institutional repository. So it is very in the grassroots level, and there are a lot of challenges to work for the research data management in Nepal.
Okay.
Do you think there would be any interest in having a kind of introduction to research data management session?
I don't think so.
No, so it's not even there yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, so there's the research data management side. Then there's the sort of this school's curriculum, like what you've seen here, which is this very, very broad introduction. Is that?
Yeah. It is very, very, very important. I found this institution, this school, I found very important, and many of the researchers and many of the organization data managers would be interested in this CODATA school.
Okay.
So I will share my experience with my colleagues and other researchers in other institutions in Nepal about the ability of such kind of a school.
Well, we're always very open to starting discussions about regional schools, if that is something that you think might be of interest. So we're always happy to have discussions about whether or not we can get students from Nepal onto the schools, or whether there is enough potential to have a school in Nepal. Do be aware that we're here to help as much as we can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is you know, we see, I think we've got a pretty good experience in terms of running the physical schools. We've done 11 of them now. The virtual schools, I think, is something that we're still working on. You know, we're coming to the end of the second one now, and I think we're still trying to get the balance right for that. But going, you know, in 2022, there will be more of those schools, and I think the virtual schools doesn't have the, you know, the thing we really like about the physical schools is that it's very intense and you're all brought together, and there's a great sort of bond that's created, so that in particular students get to know each other very well and they stay in touch, and that's a really positive thing. On the other hand, the virtual schools, it's really possible to kind of build up the number of people that you can have there. So yesterday I was at a session and there was another group who do teaching in software engineering called Code Refinery, and they had this model where they talked about what they called bring your own breakout room, which was you run a virtual school, but you basically say, anybody can kind of like sign up to it as long as they have their own helpers and so on, which is actually something we're doing here with the Trieste school. So it's able to, you can scale up much more quickly with the virtual school. And
we're doing that with Ethiopia at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. That what happened was we set up our school in Trieste, and then a group at Addis Ababa University were saying, we'd like to attend this. And we said, okay, but what you need to do is to have your own helpers allocated who'll be in the forum. And that's worked, I think, quite well. So I think with the next sort of virtual schools, I think we could have more examples of that as well, so that there could be, you know, things which could be coordinated in that respect. Maybe if it would be just to talk a little bit about the virtual school. So the physical school like runs for 2 weeks. It's really intensive. You know, we start at 9 o'clock in the morning and we often keep on working until after 6, lunch breaks and everything. But thanks, Lou. Thanks, Louise. With the virtual school, it's much more.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah, I think it's down past page 21. So if you keep scrolling down.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So what so what we've done is instead of trying to run that sort of intensive model, because I think, in all honesty, people just, they'd be exhausted at the end of it. It's basically rolled out. So all those modules that you saw in that diagram, instead of spending a half a day or a day on them, it's now rolled out over a week. So what we do is there's a whole series of like pre-recorded videos, fairly short, that we have on a virtual learning environment, and some exercises. And then what we'll do is there's one for basically for every week. So the idea is that students then look at the videos and go through the materials. And then there are 2 one-hour sessions in the middle of the week and at the end of the week, where people can ask questions about how are they doing and so on. So the first one we ran in South Africa this year, and that was fantastic success. If we have the school we're running for Trieste, which is hosted by Trieste, that's running over 11 weeks, in fact, because we needed to put in another week to discuss neural networks. Actually, yeah, that's great. Thank you. So it's 11 weeks long, and there's basically 2 more weeks after this week when we finish up. If you just go to the next slide there, Louise. Oh no, I thought I had those. No. So just to say what we are saying in terms of the future. So for next year, there's a plan that there will be one hosted from South America, and South Africa again are planning to host things. And as I said, I think there's this kind of model where actually more people could be at the same event if you have more helpers who are there to work. So one of the things that's really, really important is that we have a forum that's set up. Actually, if it's okay, can I share my screen for a mo there? Just to show what's going on here. So this is actually the chat room that we have for our screen. Let me not. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to go into any of these.
You can go into the open science ones. There was nothing dodgy there.
Yeah. No, there's nothing. I just don't want to show people's names. But I'll go to this here. So, if as people are having, so the idea is that they look at the materials. They actually go to these forum, the forum, and they're kind of saying, oh, I don't understand this, or I can't get this video to work, or I haven't got this exercise working. And then you have helpers who really kind of monitor these forums regularly every day. And they're there to jump in and say, oh, this is what's wrong, and so on. So they're doing the same role that would happen in the physical lab, where helpers would be walking around and saying, oh, you forgot a semicolon here, or you need to think about that. So that's the point, that actually you could have teams of helpers is probably the thing that, we probably don't need to have many more instructors, but helpers are really important who can jump in and describe things. So as I said, I think we're still working on dates and so on, but the South African school will probably run at this roughly the same time, sort of April to May. That's, just to give a rough estimate of where we're at. And we will keep everybody here sort of up to date and let you know where things are going. The thing also just to note is that again, I'm gonna switch over here just to show, this is the virtual learning environment that we have for the schools. And what we try and do is have the, like, you know, you'll have videos, but also try and have the audio as well, so that if people just want to look at the presentation and listen to the presentation at the same time, that's not so heavy in terms of bandwidth. The other thing I would just also kind of add finally to all of this is that one way or the other, people get really tired, is because it's a huge amount of material that we're covering. So kind of in the physical schools, Wednesday, Thursday of the second week, people are fading. I also think that here as well, even though it's sort of spread out, you definitely kind of get to that feeling like now people are really tired, and you know, they kind of keep they grit their teeth and hold on in there, but they certainly are sort of like, it's a lot of work for them as well. So that I'll stop sharing that now. I can't. The one thing, unfortunately, I can't do is show you the link, you know, share the links to the Moodle page, because you need to get yourself logged in for that, I think, and the forums as well. But we'll, you know, happily share any materials and so on that we have, things that are there. Okay. So were there any, you know, Pascal, in terms of doing things online, do you feel that, you know, that have you really kind of saying, well, we're going to step away from doing anything online, or, you know, do you want to keep doing the say, let's do, it's most effective for us to do things sort of physically? But what are your findings?
Yeah.
Well, we prefer doing things in presential. That's why we went to Senegal. It was closed for 2 years, but now it's open.
Yeah.
And we worked also on training online, but it cannot be the same format. And it was a huge work to transform. We followed a training for being able to put our training session online. But now we have the same session online in presential. So, but online, you cannot do more than 2 hours per day. It's a lot.
Yeah.
While in presential, you can do interactive session, you can have more feeling. So we have both, and we did because we couldn't travel, so we invested a lot in online training and also in skills to be able to manage this kind of training. And it's not easy. For us, it was a lot of an investment, personal investment for six people. It was very important. So now we have both. And for example, in December, there is a session in Madagascar in French, where we will not be able to go. So we are doing it online.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. All right.
But,
Sorry, what?
yes, no, I just saying it should be very interesting to exchange about what session you can put online and our interactive section, exercise, I don't know, because we are not very advanced about that, and I think this is really a special skill, and also everybody is working on the screen. It's not the same, so maybe we can share some experience in another session. I don't know how we build the session or we build the formation.
Yeah. So with respect to to RDM, I think, are you aware of just the open air community of practice? So let me just put that in there. So those are, yeah, I think it's they have a Slack channel, and they meet once a month. And you know, I've been attending those meetings. It's quite useful to, there are lots of lessons that I think are there in terms of what works in terms of online learning and so on. So the person to talk to there is Irina Karchma as well. Is also, it'd be great if you could come along for those as well.
But also,
Okay.
if you'd like to chat to us at any point, we're more than happy to sit down and have a deeper dive through our materials and talk you through particularly research data management and open science, how we teach those online.
Because I think
very happy to sit down. I also have a vested interest because I teach the open science curriculum. So.
I think there's also the thing about it would be interesting to talk further in terms of how much effort would it take to look at doing a French version of the school, for example,
or even to partner with your organization so that we could provide the back end stuff. And
exactly,
because we are very conscious of the fact that because we are an Anglophone training community, that we do tend to miss out certain regions, because we have 2 co-chairs who are based in South America. So we have had Portuguese and Spanish schools, but we don't have any Francophone co-chairs. So we aren't able to provide any training or resources in those areas.
Yeah. And likewise, we don't have co-chairs from East Asia, or
apart from Venkat, but he's kind of flying under the radar.
Yes. Yeah.
So Venkat is from India, but he's based in Scotland, so he doesn't really count as East Asia anymore.
He's a proud Scot, really.
But anyway, yes, we'd love to expand more into Central and Eastern Asia. I think it's very important that those regions get the benefit as well. But anyway, are there any other comments at this point, or have we just given you a ton of information without any particular structure? So we had anticipated this session was going to be a bit more of a Q&A session, but we're so glad that you two came along. Otherwise, it would have been me and Hugh just sitting looking at each other.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what. I'll just put. Actually, Bridget, what is the I've forgotten the name of our email. Is it dataschools@codata.org? Yeah. So let me just write this down. Is that it?
Bridget?
You're muted.
Sorry, I'm just checking because I'm useless at remembering. Yes, it's code. Yeah, data. Is it data science? Hang on.
No, it's data schools, isn't it?
Data schools, I'm sure.
Yeah, our Twitter handle is data sci schools.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So if you want to do any sort of follow up there, please don't hesitate. I mean, we'd really love to talk further with you, kind of going forward, if that's okay. So Jagadish in particular, to kind of let you know about where we are with with more of the schools themselves. And Pascal, it would be great to talk more about, where we can, what more we could possibly collaborate on, if that would be
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah, I think because we've been running for the last 5 and a bit years, we have quite a dedicated network of trainers and quite a lot of training materials that we're really happy to share if it can help. Because at the moment as well, because we're a volunteer network, we are kind of reaching capacity of what's possible within the space of a year. So if we have more partners and we have more in-country hosts and things like that, it really makes our lives a lot easier.
Great.
That will be great. I will go through your website and find out the material resources about the trainers as well, and use those material for training to the other colleagues, and try to apply for the next school.
Absolutely. We look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah.
Right. So is there anything else that Pascal, Jagadish, was there anything else you wanted to cover at this stage, or would you like to have?
Or are these just conversations we can take forward individually?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe we don't have to spend another half hour in the session.
I think it's almost clear, and if any question may arise, I could contact
you know where to
you
find
through
us.
the email.
Absolutely, we're always available on email, so just give us a shout and we'll do our best to answer any questions.
All right.
I have a question. Do you provide any training session on anonymization, pseudonymization, or sensitive data? Do you have something like that?
No, I don't think we cover that. We don't cover it in either of those because it's sort of at a more introductory level. What I could do is
I know of a lot of people who train on that, but it's
Yeah.
not something that we train in the school. If you are looking for trainers or material, I can direct you towards people who do training on that, particularly through the H3 Africa network, the Human Health and Hereditary Network in Africa. They do quite a lot of training on anonymization and sensitive data. So yeah, just drop an email, and I can put my email in as well if you're looking for that. But no, we don't include it in our school.
Okay, thank you.
We talk generally about responsible data, but
I was talking about sensitive data, not intensive data. Sensitive.
Yeah, sensitive, like sensitive personal data and stuff. Yeah. No, so no, we don't do it in our course. We just do general responsible research practices, but I can link you up to H3 Africa if you're looking for content.
Yeah, there's also there's one of the EOSC organizations, this EOSC pillar. If you do a search for that, that's a catalog of RDM materials that are out there. The Elixir group, they have something called TESS, which is again another sort of like catalog of materials that's also, so that'll point you to at least to materials in those areas as well, if you wanted to follow up. But yeah,
I guess the nice thing about H3 Africa is it's coming at training from an African perspective and an African context, which can be useful. Depends where you're thinking of training.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so if it's okay, we'll wrap it up at that point. If that's all right, give everybody.
It was an absolute pleasure to meet you both. Thank you for coming to the session.
Yeah,
and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Thank you very much. Very interesting session I found.
Super. Keep well.
Take care. Bye.
Bye now.
I'll stop recording.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Bye.